Guys, no cameras blocked, all access. Just saying, okay? No cameras blocked, all access.
On April 20th, a score will be settled.
I'll drink a beer and beat the
This is like the classic thing. And there's a lesson to be learned pretty much for anyone who faces competition in business, sports, really any way at all. So these two guys are two of the most talented people on planet Earth at what they do as fighters. They are about to go toe-to-toe, interestingly enough, on this unbelievable emotional level. Now, by the way, I get it. A big part of this is they're just trying to make money. They're trying to get views, trying to drive up popularity. I understand all that. But let's talk about how it affects the fighting. Let's go to, where's that section right where they were talking about, well, I think he thinks this, and I think he might think that. They sound like seventh grade girls.
I heard that he said something about my religion. He says that he didn't say it, so I'm not going to force that on him. If he said that he didn't say it, then he didn't say it. But that's what I heard. And that's what somebody who's a reliable source told me that.
Okay, so they keep going on this. Now it goes back to him. I didn't say it. No, he did say it. No, I didn't say it. And then fast forward a little bit and hear this whole part.
That you don't come back
They
from.
could be lying, though. They could be setting stuff up.
But you could be lying, too.
Okay, I would tell you the truth. I would be like, you know what? I did say these things.
So this is the crazy thing about what we're watching here. And I want to apply this to anybody that competes for anything. I'm going to use a sports analogy, which is important. But frankly, you're out there and you're competing in your business. You're out there and you're competing in another sport. You're trying to do something. You're trying to get something done. And a lot of people use this sort of thing as kind of a model for how they effectively get themselves jazzed up for competition. I want to tell you why it doesn't work. Now, what does work is they sell more tickets if people get all excited, the whole Conor McGregor act like a freak thing. That's not what most people are actually doing in life. And you know what? I wonder what's going to make them better or worse at what they do. Maybe keeping some self-control and winning a bunch of fights, or talking like this. I don't know. That's speculative and that's a marketing thing, whatever. But here's the point about how it affects your actual fighting. When you have prolonged, irrelevant emotions about things that don't matter, like, for example, this right here.
You've said in some interviews in the build-up that you think he's fake. That you say he says one thing to your face and does something different behind your back.
What I meant by that is, hey, like, I know we get friendly, but like, I know what's underneath that. Like, we're ready to go get his ass, like, when they get that opportunity. So that's all I meant by that, you know. Devin's Devin. I mean, he probably thinks he's not fake, you know. I mean, he probably thinks I'm fake, I'm acting, I'm doing this. So
what did you think when you heard that he thinks you're saying one thing to his face and something else behind his back?
I don't know what he's talking about, so.
Of course, they wouldn't admit that.
I don't know what
Are they in high school dating? What does that have to do with your fists being able to devour this guy by knocking him out in a fight? Oh, yeah, but he said something mean about me. Well, no, he didn't. Well, he's two-faced. It doesn't matter if he is or not. That's one thing. That's just distraction. But the other thing is they take these super high, elevated, intense moments where they're like F-bombing each other type of thing. It's a great article. This is Marshall Journal, October 9th, 2023. And it's a great article about the way that you use emotions when you fight or you don't fight and what it does to actually allow you to compete effectively or not. No doubt about it, when we have increased anger, we can have more power. But that adrenaline rush that drives our anger up lasts only for about a minute, and it really is not designed to last longer than that. And so what happens is when you go beyond that minute, you enter into a higher level of exhaustion and you reduce your effectiveness. So when you're going to hit a super, super high level of angered intensity that drives up adrenaline, you better win that fight in that 60 seconds. But the problem is they're not doing that because they're thinking this way now. They're thinking this way an hour before the fight, 20 minutes before the fight, as they enter into the fight, and they deplete themselves of a resource that they need absolutely in order to win the fight. Now, I was never a fighter, even at a remote level, like any of these guys. So even by association, I wouldn't even want to draw a comparison. But I can tell you that as an amateur fighter who did win nationals, I know what it does feel like to be emotional in a fight. And I remember just methodically, like a machine, thinking about if they do this, I do that. If they do this, I do that. Reactionary and unconsciously defeating something by holding my emotions for that moment where I might need it for a super intense short period of time and then come back to it. But if you're just going crazy with it, that's one thing. The other thing is there is a distraction of focus. When you're going to be great at something, as they are planning on doing, you need to be able to get up and go to work and do the things that matter, not spend any additional emotional energy on things that don't matter, which increase anxiety, by the way, which which increase cortisone. They actually make it difficult for you to be able to heal as fast as you could to increase your performance. And if you get caught up in this sort of thing, you're definitely going to be less effective. Now, even though we've had the Conor McGregors and people like that out there who've done this sort of thing at a super high level and won, they would have been more effective if they wouldn't have done that. Now, again, would Conor now be selling as much whiskey as he does and being in movies like The Roadhouse if he hadn't been that way? I don't know. That's a different calculation. We're not talking about that. Why are we not? Because you don't have a pay-per-view audience when you're going to sell your product or build your business and you're thinking about the competitor across the street, or when you're in your high school or your collegiate or your semi-pro athletic prowess, or even a lot of you guys that are out there playing pro football or whatever it might be. You don't have this particular thing about what's going on. That emotional energy is not effectively used. You want to make sure you are directing this and you're keeping control. This article reinforces that being calm and controlling your emotions has proven to be the highest level of performing factor for people, particularly fighters of any style. Don't act like little girls, guys. Go out there and spend the energy you're supposed to spend it. If you do that, you can be a giant, and we can go slay some dragons.